All right. Welcome back to another edition of the Horizon League Golden Hour. Why the Golden Hour? Because for those of you who are photographers, you know that the Golden Hour is that special time of day where the sky meets the earth. Well, we like to talk about that seamless transition between student and athlete. For those of you watching, that's the horizon here and our wonderful H-icon logo. So hence the Golden Hour, but we are excited to be joined by Debbie Antonelli today. Debbie, it's almost been a year since you've been a friend of the Horizon League, and I consider you a friend of mine. So really appreciate you being with us today.
It's always great to make new friends.
That's right. I think your reputation precedes you, but for those who might not know, big-time Hall of Famer. I mean, not to embarrass you, but you've been deservedly so recognized in so many Hall of Fames. I know a really special one happened in 2024 with the NC State Ring of Honor because you played for legendary coach Kay Yow. You are also a Hall of Famer professionally because of your talent as an analyst in radio and broadcast. You've been on, I think it'd be easier to say which networks you haven't been on than list all the networks you have been on. We're excited that you were on ESPN for our women's basketball championship game last year and, of course, did a fantastic job. But you also, not only are you the single person that does both men's and women's college basketball games, including in the NCAA tournament, you also, and that's, I think, around 80 a year. I don't know how you do that.
This year it might be 100 with it.
Okay. Because on top of that now, and we love having you in Indy for the Fever season, you've been with the WNBA for 23 years and as a regular season ticket holder of the Fever and attendee of games and listen to games, we love having your voice on all the Fever games. So you're so accomplished, Debbie, and we're so glad that you are a friend of the league. But I think one thing else that goes beyond your accolades is your impact. In the Horizon League, we like to talk about major impact. We are going to actually have a session with our staff later because we want to broaden this major impact you're having and figure out how to replicate that in the Horizon League, in particular Special Olympics. But I want you to tell that story, but to me, that's probably what's most impressive beyond incredible athlete, incredible professional, but you go above and beyond in giving back. So thank you for your inspiration.
Thank you for your kind words.
All right.
Julie.
So now I get to ask you some questions. All right, let's just, go back to the beginning a little bit. Obviously, basketball has been in your life for a very long time. When did you know, wow, this sport is special and I love this?
Well, fortunately, my parents asked us to try everything. And we did play everything. When I was growing up, I played all sports. And I grew up in upstate New York, and then my parents got moved and transferred to the Triangle area in Raleigh-Durham area in Cary, North Carolina. My dad was an IBMer. And I was 13 when my parents moved us.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't realize.
I didn't speak to them for about 6 months, I think.
That's a tough age.
Yes, it's very tough. I'm the oldest of three girls. The other two had a much better adjustment, it seems, than I did. But when I was 13, my parents took me to NC State to watch a women's basketball game. And I sat on the railing at Reynolds Coliseum, and I watched Kay Yow's teams, and I did not know that girls played basketball in college and you could get a scholarship to do it. And it was at that moment that I learned that you could do that. And that's when I pretty much decided that I'm going to make myself good enough for Kay Yow to pick me. I wonder what it would take to be good enough for her to pick me. And then I played other sports, but that was clearly my mission or my goal, and I worked at it. I had great friends. My circle of friends in high school are still my best friends. We did a lot of playing sports together, but I feel it's one of the great honors of my life that she picked me. And I played all 4 years, 4 NCAA tournaments.
Right.
We won 2 ACC regular season titles. We won the ACC tournament championship. We lost it twice in the finals.
Oh, man.
You seem to remember those more than you remember
They
the
sting.
victories, right? I started for 3 years. My claim is the best non-stat starter in NC State history. 3 years of starting with no stats. It's my teammates are still my best buddies too.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
Basketball is that was the start, and I've been so fortunate. I've been on the air for 38 years, college men and women's basketball, and then this is my 20th season with the Fever, and I feel very blessed. Very blessed.
Well, you are blessed, but you also bless others. So did you know, okay, so the basketball piece, I get that. Other sports, what was the runner-up sport that you really enjoyed?
I had a chance to play volleyball and softball at a smaller level. I could have gone to D2 and played all three. My dad always thought I was a better softball player than basketball player. He didn't think I was big enough, strong enough, fast enough, all those things. He thought I was highly skilled. I was a shortstop, and I could play any position really.
Right.
And I love to play. I love baseball. I love softball, but basketball was definitely what I wanted to do. But I played all those sports, and then as my career evolved, I did have opportunities to call other sports. But being a mom with 3 kids, I didn't think I would be able to manage all of that. Basketball was my sport. I wanted to stay there, and since I got in it at really the infancy of broadcast with women and girls and basketball, I thought if I start doing football sidelines and calling softball in the spring, I'll never be home. And I was already gone enough.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. So you attended school at Ohio University, and then you had a job at Kentucky. Were you really involved in their first women's basketball broadcast? Did I read that right? That's amazing.
Yeah, so Ohio U is my grad school. We got a mafia out there, Ohio University alumni.
Including my predecessor, by the way, John LaCrone.
Yeah, I mean,
John. It's a whole crew.
Yeah, there's a big group. Syracuse has the broadcasting, the Newhouse school, and there's a bunch of them out there, and I work with a lot of Syracuse grads.
Right.
And then we've got all the bosses, I say, that are OU. So I had to do an internship as a part of my grad school requirements. I went to Kentucky. I was 23. The local cable company came to us and said, we want to try to produce sport. And I've been fortunate. I've worked with 2 really big brands, Kentucky basketball and Ohio State football, because that's what I did after Kentucky. But yes, it was first basketball games at Kentucky. We created a little network. Host Communications was a big partner for Kentucky athletics. And we did that for 4 years, and then I left. I was the first director of marketing and athletics at Kentucky. It's a little known fact. And then I took the job at Ohio State, I should say. And I was 27 when I became the director of marketing and licensing there. And that's when I went to the local cable company. I said, can you guys produce sport?
Oh, I love that.
They said, we don't know. And I said, well, let's learn together. And tell me what it's going to cost to put 8 women's basketball games on the air. I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to call it. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be on TV anymore because I thought my television opportunities would have ended. There wasn't any inventory. I mean, I was creating my own inventory to call the game so I could stay on the air, but it was seamless with my job because I was the director of marketing. So I went out and sold all the inventory and the advertising, and I ran a network before I really understood what I was doing. I really didn't know that's what I was doing at the time.
Right.
Until the Big Ten Network and the ACC Network and all these other networks started launching, and I started thinking, hey, I think I maybe have done a little bit of that. And I'm so glad that I did because my timing through all of this has been I can't imagine I have better timing. It's perfect.
Well, and follow your passion too. I mean, but that's fascinating that you were literally a one-stop shop. Because you think about how many people at Kentucky, at the Ohio State University, are in marketing, in licensing, in broadcasting.
There was no one. The landscape is so different, right? What we're dealing with and what challenges that you're dealing with now. I mean, when I say I'm the director of marketing at Kentucky, that was it. There was an associate AD, a secretary, and myself.
I love that.
And the associate AD was in charge of marketing and fundraising. I was in charge of, and it's a good story on how I got the job. But my first year at Kentucky was Eddie Sutton and Cliff Hagan's last years. We were embroiled in controversy the whole season.
Yes,
a lot of people will remember that.
Right.
And it was an incredible learning opportunity because communication was like nothing. So you just had to figure stuff out.
Right.
And then when Sam Newton came in to be our athletic director, Rick Pitino's first 3 years at Kentucky, I was there, but I actually was hired before Rick because CM hired me right before he hired Rick. So I was actually CM's first hire at Kentucky.
CM's a legend.
Absolutely.
A legend in the NACDA halls for sure.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to name drop all the wonderful people I've worked for, but he would be one of them.
Yeah, special. Okay, so at that point then, is that when you realized, okay, I want to figure out how to do this broadcasting for my career?
I was running a parallel path between wanting to be an athletic director and this whole TV thing was new, and coaching. I still had basketball was still a big part of what I was doing, obviously trying to generate these opportunities. But I thought I was going to coach. I really thought I was going to be a coach. And so I'm around this parallel path, being an AD, being a coach, and then this television stuff comes in. And then I go, wait a second, I can do everything a coach does in preparing for a game and everything that I do without dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, which I was not far removed from. But I thought, this might work. This could be something. Then, then Frank and I got married, then we had the first kid, and then I decided at that point that I was going to give it a full-time go.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about your family for a moment. And we're going to come back to your broadcast career with the Fever, but let's segue because you mentioned Frank. I know you have 3 sons. Just tell us about your family.
Yeah, Frank and I have been married 33 years, but I like to say I've only been there 20 of them because he thinks it's funny too, but he probably is like this behind the scenes.
Well, what do they say? Absence makes the heart grow fonder, perhaps?
I always say, you knew what you were getting into. He's great. Frank played baseball at Columbia University in New York, so we're 2 D1 parents.
Impressive.
It's fun. 3 boys. My oldest son, Joey, works in golf, and he's got a undergrad and a master's degree in sports administration, so he's good.
Yep.
My middle son, Frankie, which I think we'll get back to, that's my son that graduated from Clemson Life.
Amazing program.
Life is an acronym. Learning is for everyone. He has Down syndrome, and we'll get to him. Right. And then my son, Patrick, my youngest, is going to be one of the oldest men in college basketball this year. He is in his 6th year of playing college basketball. He's a COVID and a redshirt guy. Okay. Started in COVID, D2 point guard at Emory and Henry in Southwestern Virginia. Had a great experience. 4 years, redshirt senior year with injury. Last year, walk on at Louisville, Pat Kelsey's first year at Louisville. Incredible experience with Coach Kelsey. And then this year, he's a D2 point guard, getting his 2nd master's. He'll get an MBA at Francis Marion, which is about 2 hours north of where we live in Charleston. So,
that's great.
We went from 6 hours to 10 hours to 2. So he is by far the oldest guy on his team. He already told me, Mom, I think I'm the old man on the team. And I said, just get ready for the grandpa jokes.
Not quite.
But
he'll be a leader in the locker room.
I hope so.
Right.
I think he's set up to have a really good year.
And you two made history on the game you were calling.
Wow.
Tell us about that moment.
Well, we were in the Bahamas for the Battle for Atlantis, and Beth Mowens and I, my longtime partner on the air, this year will be 30 years for us, which is something no one's ever done. I'm happy to talk about that, too, if you want. But it's Indiana and it's Louisville, 2 blue bloods.
Right.
There's not one piece of me that woke up that morning thinking that Patrick would get to play. I did not even think about it. It didn't cross my mind. All I kept thinking about was how proud I was that he was wearing a uniform, living out his dream, getting to do what he wants to do, and learning while he's with Pat Kelsey, who is a great man.
Right.
And that's all I cared about. And with about 5 minutes left in the game, I think it was about 5 minutes, all of a sudden, it registered to me that, oh, my goodness, Louisville's up by 35 points over Indiana. How could this be, right? I mean,
right, yeah, nobody saw that coming.
No one saw that coming. And I kind of thought, ooh, maybe the walk-ons will get in. So Beth and I kind of nudged each other like, maybe, and then as the clock was ticking down under 3 minutes, I looked over. I'm not exactly sure what time it was, but I looked over, and Pat was sending Patrick to the scores table by himself as the first walk-on. And I knew he was doing that to give him his moment and to give me a moment. And I was so shocked by it. I think it just caught me so off guard. I just looked over to Pat and I did this to him. Thank you.
Aw.
I said, thank you. And he was smiling, and Patrick goes in, and there's a technical foul, and the boys push Patrick to the free throw line, and Pat says, let him shoot the free throws. And thankfully, because Beth was on the call, she knew Patrick's whole story, right? She's been my longtime partner for 30 years. She's been with me with my kids growing up. She knows everything about my boys.
Wow.
And she knew Patrick's lifelong dream was to be a Louisville Cardinal. As a little boy, he grew up. He's probably the only kid in Charleston, South Carolina that liked the Louisville Cardinals.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
posters on his bedroom wall. And
Wow.
Rick Pitino was an idol of his, and the whole Louisville brand and everything about Louisville basketball. Every book report, every project led to Louisville, and I saved them all. So it was a dream come true for him. And then to be the first, usually the guys get their boys in the game, the sons, but not a mom. That had never happened. So that was really special, and I could not thank Pat Kelsey enough. He made both technical free throws. Then they go back down the floor, and he gets fouled on a drive to the basket, and he makes 1 out of 2. So he had 3 points in the game.
Holy cow. That's a good stat.
Really great. And then it really blew up.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea that the basketball world would take that moment for me and Patrick. Now I got to tell you a funny story about it later. Can I tell you real quick?
Yes.
We're in the Bahamas, and we're at Carmine's eating dinner.
Post game.
It's me and Patrick and Beth. And the ACC network had asked me to come on the show to talk about our experience. So I drag Patrick with me. I said, come on, let's go outside. We're going to go outside and do this hit on the ACC network. Are you going to do it with me? You're going to stand here, and Mark Packer's going to interview us, and he's going to ask you about it's going to be great. Trust me, it'll be fine that you're with me. It won't be an issue. So I'm literally standing underneath a tree out in front of Carmine's in the Bahamas, and anybody who's been to Atlantis knows exactly where I'm standing.
Yeah, I've been there.
Okay, I'm holding my phone up in front of me, and we're FaceTiming to the studio. And as I'm holding my phone, and Patrick's standing right next to me, a bird poops in my hand.
No way.
So I know, because I've been in television, I keep going.
You're a pro.
And I'm thinking, Patrick, please just keep talking, right? Because you couldn't miss it.
Right.
I don't know how it missed my phone, but it just landed. And then it started to drip down my hand.
No.
So I'm holding my phone in front of me while we're having this incredible moment, right? Anyway, not many people know that story, but that's
a great
true.
Story. And how did Patrick play it off?
He handled it like a pro.
All right.
He might want to be in TV one day.
Okay. All right. So he made the first 2 free throws you mentioned, which is a great segue to Frankie's story and nothing but net. So the making the free throws is in his blood, Patrick's, but also yours, obviously, and Frankie's, because I've seen Frankie make it too. So tell us more about Frankie, and I know that connects to nothing but net.
Anyone watching and has seen the show Love on the Spectrum will recognize Frankie's longtime roommate, Tanner, who is the main character on the show. So Clemson provides this incredible post-secondary experience for students with intellectual disability. As I mentioned, Frankie has Down syndrome. Now, Frank and I did not know until after he was born, when the doctor came in to tell us, so there's a whole bunch of stuff there. But this program is absolutely amazing for families like ours, and it allowed Frankie to have a complete college experience with an academic curriculum of nutrition and apartment class and relationship class and how to do things on your phone and how to manage time and how to put your calendar together. It wasn't an academic curriculum like you see most traditional college students have, but it was exactly what he needed with a goal of independent living.
Wow.
And as parents, this is a topic that keeps me up at night, is thinking about what happens if something happens to anybody, me, Frank, Joey, or Patrick.
Right.
And so Frankie is living independently with support. He has 2 jobs that he's good for a 3 or 4 hour shift. He walks to everything. He needs no transportation. He Instacarts his groceries. And he has a group of real friends. And he lives in this townhome apartment-like style living where there's 13 attached townhouses, and 9 of them have Clemson Life graduates living in
Oh,
them.
my
So they
goodness.
have their own
Wow.
little community, and they do a lot of things together. And it's an incredible story to share because 28 years ago, that wasn't an option for any families like ours. And now, today, when people have their children that may have some sort of issue or whatever it may be, there are options. There
Right.
is hope. And it's going to affect the whole ecosystem all the way down to early childhood development. So it's going to be really great for other families coming up. And I love sharing the story
That
because
is
it's
powerful.
it is important.
So Clemson has the life program. I know you helped spearhead other universities in
Yes.
South Carolina building this. And where are we now in terms of the
Yeah.
country and programs?
Well, every state has something.
Okay.
It might not be residential, but there are options. It could be technical school or trade school or community school, community college. Not everyone has, but I know we're going to talk about the free throws, but
Right.
NC State was my greatest challenge because it's my alma mater. I spent 3 years on campus, and just the short version of it is convincing board of trustees, stakeholders, deans on campus in places that as a student I never was, trying to convince them to start a program like Clemson. And NC State now has Elevate because we found the right people that were willing to lead, and the chair of the House in North Carolina had discretionary funds, and he gave NC State $3 million to start their program. And while it was being discussed on the House floor, North Carolina Central, HBCU, raised their hand and said, "What about us?" So this is the impact
That's amazing. That's amazing.
is going to be life-changing for students in that state, and I'm so proud of NC State for doing it. It is by far one of the best things I've ever been involved in. And just when you have a vision and you're trying to convince people, and it takes a lot to do it, it was definitely worth the energy behind it.
I mean, you talk about lifelong impact. That's amazing.
I don't know how it got done. I mean, I run my mouth in
Well, I
circles
do.
that I
You
shouldn't
just
run.
don't stop.
Well, I'm not going to take no if I think it's wrong.
That's right. It helps having your name in the Ring of Honor too a little
Well.
bit. Okay, so nothing but net.
Yes, thank you,
And
Julie.
for those watching, they see my shirt, but I'm wearing a shirt you gave me,
Yes.
which I know you've got a lot of shirts because we're going to talk about the shirt you're wearing. But Nothing But Net is this incredible program that it's so inspiring to me that what you've done. So you tell it because you're going to tell it better than me.
So 24 Hours Nothing But Net is a 24-hour free throw shooting marathon. I make 100 free throws on the top of every hour for 24 straight hours. So at the end of 24 hours, I've made 2,400. And I've done this for 7 years. I do it in May. It's usually around Mother's Day weekend. It gives me, I need the time to train. This is not something I show up in my driveway and just start shooting. It requires burpees, planks, sprints, squats, weights, bike, you name it, I'm doing it. And I'm in the maintenance phase right now.
Okay.
But as we get closer to the event in May of 26, so I've done it for 7 years, and we've raised $1.4 million for Special Olympics. It is way beyond.
Wow.
I had no idea when I came up with the idea if I could do it, if anyone would watch on the live stream, because we have a live stream.
I've watched
and
it,
if
yeah.
anyone would give.
Right.
I didn't know if we could, but I was hoping that for all the things that I do in my career that I can use my platform for something like this. And I see no end in sight. I do get AARP mail. I like to say that because I want people to make sure this is not getting easier. But the motivation and the focus is the same. And then we make partners and make friends.
Right.
And we try to build.
And now the Horizon League, you met with our SAC group, our SWAs, faculty reps in the spring, and now we are dreaming about how do we take this blueprint that you've built and roll it across our 6-state, soon-to-be 7-state footprint.
Yeah, I want all 7 states engaged and the money to stay in the local communities, but I would count it under the umbrella of 24 Hours Nothing But Net.
Right.
So in an effort to continue to expand, if you think polar plunge and then you think free throws, it's very similar
Right.
stage. It's just a different vehicle.
Right.
And it's a vehicle that I think everyone dribbles a basketball and shoots a basketball. Anyone can make free throws, and making free throws and trying to do it for a good cause could be very impactful.
It's fun.
Yeah, it could have a lot of, it could help us raise a lot of money and raise a lot of awareness and make new friends along the way.
That's right.
We've made a good friend here in Indianapolis in John Wheeler.
He's so great segue, because not only did you call our women's championship game back in March, but we invited Special Olympics of Indiana to meet you. We had the Indy Star come out, and the Special Olympics brought John Wheeler, who, you talk about an inspirational story.
Yeah. It really speaks to you, Julie, and your leadership and your team, because it didn't take long for you to realize that this could be something that your student athletes and your conference and your league could benefit from. So I give all the credit to you for making this connection.
We connect the dots. That's it.
Yeah, but it's big. I mean, not a lot of conferences are stepping up saying we want to do this. You know, I'm doing this all on a very grassroots level. It's not like a major corporation, or if there's somebody out there, you know, that wants to get involved, of course I would do it. But it could be a full-time job for me, just doing 24 hours nothing but net, but allowing your membership and partnering to try to make a difference in the communities where your schools are. It's huge.
Well, I think, to your point, the blueprint you've built is something we can model. And now I think you can tailor it to each campus, because you meet people like John Wheeler, you meet people like Frankie, whose lives have been transformed through Special Olympics. And what better cause than to be a part of that? The
best storyteller in Indiana is John Wheeler. He tells a great story about trying out for his high school team, not making it, learning there was a Special Olympic team, which he didn't know. I mean, he just didn't know. He tries out, starts playing, double overtime, national championship, buzzer beater. He's written books. He works.
He's got a sweet shot. I saw it.
And he keeps challenging me, but I keep telling him he's not going to beat me. But he's still after me.
Yeah,
I tell him I got to train really hard to beat him.
So, moving from nothing but net to your shirt, Clarkonomics.
Yes, Clarkonomics.
And
I love Clarkonomics, right?
You are seeing another transformation happening here with not just women's basketball, the WNBA, but we are really, I think, at the center of that because of Clarkonomics happening here in Indy.
Julie, it brings such tremendous joy to watch what is happening in women's sports right now. And I gave it the term Clarkonomics a couple of years ago because I thought it was the greatest way to describe the greatest single disruption in the history of women's sports, not just women's basketball. When you write the story and history of women's sports, I think you're going to go Billie Jean King, Mia Hamm, Caitlin Clark.
Wow.
And I say that because we're going along fine and we're doing well and we're increasing all the metrics that you want to see. But then you need this incredible disruption that changes everything. And it's a positive.
It is.
And Caitlin has been that. And because she has galvanized so many people. I mean, here in Indy, we know when we go to the games, you can see the little girl with a jersey and the number 22, and you can see the girl dad supporting his daughter wearing a Fever jersey and all that. But when you see the 22 to 28-year-old young man walking on the streets with a choice and chose to put that jersey on and wear a Fever or Kelsey Mitchell or Aaliyah Boston, I mean, 22s are everywhere. I think most of the time we're on the road. They're not like road games because there's so much enjoyment in wearing that Fever logo and wearing that number 22. And economically, it has changed our marketplace.
Yes.
And it's good. So anybody who doesn't think it's good, I don't know why they wouldn't think that. It's not slighting anyone that came before. It's not taking a swipe at the past. What it's doing is uplifting all of those that you and others before us that have been fighting for opportunities for women, and now we have them, and now we have an opportunity to really explode.
I've called it the rocket ship. I like your disruptor, but you can just feel we are on an incredible trajectory. And then, obviously, you were here for the WNBA All-Star Game, another major moment of women's sports, and it wasn't just basketball. There was just a celebration of women's sports here in this Indy community that we wouldn't have had that a few years ago.
No. And I mean, there's a common denominator here, you know, and it's okay to talk about it. It's not, how many times have you heard great leaders say, doesn't matter who gets the credit, doesn't, what's the saying? I'm trying to say, the best teams aren't always the most talented teams, the teams that work together the best, or those that get credit. It doesn't matter who gets the credit. It doesn't matter. It's just it's a way of describing where we are.
Right.
And so I put a term on it. And Caitlin, when I first came up with it, it was in November of her senior year, and I asked her, how do you feel about this? She said, I love it. I said, okay, well, I'm going with it. I'm using it on the air today. She said, okay. And then I was like, this is going to be good for all people.
Yeah, it is good. Okay, Debbie, so before we close, we like to do something here. It's called Start Bench Cut. It's a very straightforward question.
Okay.
You obviously didn't get, you didn't get any of these in advance, but we didn't get this in advance.
Okay.
No right, wrong answer, but who you going to start, who you going to bench, who you going to cut. And this is your preferences. Playing hoops, broadcasting hoops, or watching hoops on film.
Playing would be what I would cut right now because I'm not in shape to play. Watching hoops or watching film?
Yeah, the watching.
You like calling the games?
Right. Well, broadcasting versus just watching.
Oh, I'm broadcasting as starter.
Okay.
And I'll put watching on the bench.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm cutting playing at this point.
Well, you're not in full train mode yet.
Yeah, not yet. Ask me in May that question. I want to shift it around.
Okay. Well, again, thank you so much
you.
for being with us. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks for being such a great leader in this space, Julie.
You too.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of The Golden Hour. Be sure to follow along with all the Horizon League news and action on our social media platforms at Horizon League and at horizonleague.com.